All life is lived in the space between the connection of 2 points. Most of us would see those 2 points as something like life and death. The simple truth, though, is that each of us spend too much time obsessing about those particular points in our lives. We either look with ambition towards the future or with regret as we dwell on the past. As children, all we want to do is grow up, but as adults, all we dream about is to be able to be a kid again. Our society rewards success by the acquisition of achievement, but in our grief, we can only see death. This is no way to measure the value of one's life. So it's time to change. It's time to step back and look at what connects all of us together, because that connection is life. That connection is no different than the road we take that takes us from who we were to who we are meant to be. To see life this way is to live it the way that God intended us to. In reality, life is a road with only one point at the beginning, with the destination being determined by the journey you choose to make along the way. That destination is made up of all the choices, the love, the grief, the anger, the mistakes, and the joy you either make or experience in your life. This is your road, and by definition, it is your destination. It is up to you to decide where to go next. This is the same road that bears the name of one of Sonora's own sons. This is Shane's road.
When he got there, he was the leader. And they was telling me, they go, oh my goodness, he would help others make sure everything was pressed right. And there was this one young man, he get in so much trouble. They were out getting ready to go to the desert. And this one kid kept mouthing off, well, I think y'all are just cruel. I think I'll turn you in. But it's because they hadn't eaten and they were just exhausted. And they go, okay, little boy, run to your mama. And they made him take off running. And so all of a sudden, Shane started putting his boots on. They go, what are you doing for me? He goes, he's my brother. I have to go with him. And so Shane put his boots on, and he just took off running. They had run for 7 hours. And he came back a week later. That little boy, he started mouthing again, and they go, okay. And it was raining. He said, do push-ups till I tell you to stop. And so he started doing push-ups, and Shane dropped and started doing push-ups. And they go, Fulmer, you're crazy. We're teaching him a lesson. He goes, he's my brother. He goes, did you know him before you got here? He goes, no. And they said the next day he got out there that he looked at that kid, and that kid started to say something. Shane looked at him up. He goes, I know, I'm your brother. Never, ever acted like that again. And now he's married, and he has 2 kids. And he went back to college, and he's doing so awesome. Isn't that amazing? And he says it's because somebody let me know that I wasn't by myself. That night, he had worked on the 23rd. He worked the night shift, and they do the 12-hour shifts. Came back into camp that morning. They were ready to go to the Souk, which is the city. And so they were one short. Dane said, I'll go. And they said, Fulmer, you can't go. You've already done it. He goes, no, I'm good. Ed said he gave thumbs up, and he goes, no, I'm good. I'm ready to go. And when they got into the Souk, they were in the alley, and they were going to have to go because there was insurgents on top of the building, and they were shooting. We got to have someone stay in the alley, and Shane just dropped, took a knee, and he says, I'm staying, I'm good. And they go, no, Fulmer, you come up here. And he goes, I'm good, I got this. Gave him thumbs up, and so they got ready to go, and all of a sudden, the firing started. And Shane, of course, if you know him, you know how quiet he was, and he just really never was a loud person, but he just screamed 3 times, keep going, don't look back. Keep going, don't look back. And they said it was something in his voice that was so commanding that they didn't stop, they didn't look back. And one of the guys said he was probably a foot away from Shane. He said when Shane screamed, keep going, don't look back, that he said something inside me, Miss Fulmer, took over me, and I just ran like I've never ran before, and they ran up the stairs. And of course when they got to the stairs, and the captain, Rapazardi, said he looked down and he saw Shane, and he said Shane was smiling and had his thumbs up, and then he said they just pelted him. And all of a sudden, another Marine that was not with their battalion and a Navy man that they called Doc was probably about 6 foot away. And as they were firing at Shane's body, they ran out into there to grab Shane and drag it back. And everybody was trying to fight them and to keep them from doing it. But even though they were still fighting and shooting, neither one of them got a scratch. And they said it was like a wall had been left there. A wall had been left there. A wall had been left there.
Shane's road is one of redemption, salvation, sacrifice, and finally acceptance. His road took him from Sonora to Iraq and finally back home again, while the road that bears his name is finally finished. The road that bears his life continues on. It continues through us and how we choose to live our lives. His was a life well lived, and he did it in the space between 2 points. But those 2 points were birth and everlasting life. It is only fitting then that the sign that bears his name has a perfect view of the flag he loved so much.
Keep going. Don't look back. Don't look back.